Hey, everybody, welcome back again to The Sound. I'm Donna. So glad to have you here. If you're here for the first time, just so happy that you have joined us today for this introduction to my new friend, Sarah Hugo. I don't really know Sarah, so I'm going to be getting to know her just like you are. But this is the whole reason that I'm doing this and bringing people on to interview is so that I can bring encouragement and hope to the world today. I know that we all know that things are pretty difficult these days. And so we all need a word of encouragement, a word of hope. And that's all I'm doing with this. So I just want to just welcome you again. If you're new, if you've come back and watched our other interviews, thank you so much. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. Comment, please, because that really does help push us up in the algorithms on YouTube. And all for the reason of just getting this out there to encourage other people around the world. So thank you for doing that. Don't forget also to go over to our other channel, Worldwide Academy Training Services, where we talk about all things that have to do with emergency preparedness, safety and security, personal protection, things like canning and essential oils, all that kind of survival stuff, and just off-grid kind of things and things that help us with everyday life. So anyway, okay, so that's my little commercial for now. So Sarah, thank you so much for being with us today. And I read your, just little pinned post that you have on Facebook. And I said, oh, you know what? I think that Sarah could really encourage people today. And so I reached out to you, and also that, I see that she sings and plays guitar, and I just bought a guitar. I can't play it, but I just play, keyboards, do keyboard and sing as well. But so I kind of connected with you on that. And of course, your beautiful smiling face. So um, why don't you just give us a little bit of a background on who you are, where you're from, whatever you'd like to share with us.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me. My name, as you said, Sarah Hugo. I'm 46. I'm a mother of three daughters. I have an 18, a 16, and a 10-year-old. I've homeschooled them. Um, yes, I worship with my guitar and sing. So that's how I got drawn into music. Well, actually, music has always been in my family. My dad is a musician, my uncle, lots of music around. So
Wow.
music is my heart. Yeah, I love music. Um, and what else?
Well, you don't look like
Uh,
you have three children that old.
oh, thank you. Well,
Were
I
you?
started when I was 27 and I had
Oh,
my
me
last
too.
when I was like 36.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you
So
very much.
yeah, so your story is one, and I again, we want to encourage people, but also I'm looking for people who I term as overcomers.
Yes.
And because that's really what we have to be doing. That's really what we're doing as we're going through this life. We're overcoming everything that comes at us in order to not only become stronger ourselves, but to give glory to our Creator and also to help others, right? So,
Yeah.
as I'm looking at your story a little bit, is you had Graves thyroid disease? Is that just something that you want to talk to us about? Like,
It's absolutely. This has become such a passion of mine because I was 25 years old and I started to get sick and I didn't know what it was. I had a lot of symptoms, and it was back when I was 25. The internet wasn't full of information where you could just look up, and a lot of things on thyroid, especially hyperthyroid, weren't there. So Graves is hyperthyroid disease, and I had multinodule thyroid. Um, Great. It was Graves. Later on, I found out it was Graves. Even when I first got diagnosed, they never told me exactly what it was, and I had a lot of complications. And the reason I want to share this with people is because a lot of people have autoimmune issues, and they think that there's nothing they can do about it. The
Mm.
doctors tell you that's it. You're going to be on this medication for the rest of your life. You're going to need this surgery. You're going to need this procedure. And for me, they wanted me to take radioactive iodine, where I would have had to go into maybe a hotel, away from my children, away from everybody, isolated, because that's really toxic stuff to put in your body. But it is an option for people uh,
Mhm.
with Graves. The other option for some people is to have your thyroid obliterated through a surgery and surgically removed. But with research, I decided against doing those things, and I found a natural way to heal. But before I did that, I did 7 years of suffering.
Oh.
I was, my children, I started having my first daughter was born when I was 27. So when I was 25, I started getting sick, started getting it checked out, but immediately I got pregnant and all my symptoms went away. So while I was pregnant,
Hmm.
I just felt great. Praise
Wow.
God. I felt so good.
Yeah.
But when my daughter was about 6 months old, I had lost a lot of weight and the sickness started coming back. And so for me, my symptoms didn't seem to match what other people's symptoms would be, but I would go to the washroom and I would feel like I needed to get sick. So it was like all this gas and my
Mhm.
tract was just irritated, nauseous.
Mm.
Um, I would get so sick, I wouldn't be able to stop getting sick, and I'd have to go to the hospital and get an IV fluids. So
Mm.
this was a pattern that was going on. And then I would got pregnant with my second daughter. All symptoms go away.
Amazing.
Um, so this
Wow.
goes on, and then what? So the solution, the solution. Let's just get to the solution, because if anybody out there has Graves' disease, you're like, what did you do? Well, it's also finding out the root cause. So I contacted a Budwig Center in Spain, and they do cancer treatments. And the Budwig Center there was this famous woman, I can't remember her first name, last name Budwig, and she helped people with cancer. Like she won Nobel Peace Prize and all this. I contacted them and they told me some things. They're like, you need to get on iodine,
Mhm.
glucose iodine, and you need selenium, and you need probiotics. And they really helped me get started. Um, and I started doing more research, more reading. My mom helped. She did a lot of research. She sent me books. And I just started taking all these things, like the selenium, the
Uh-huh.
iodine. But sorry, I'm kind of out of order.
No, that's okay.
I went to a naturopath first. So
Okay.
finally, I go to a naturopath because the doctors aren't helping me. I've had CT scans. They thought maybe I had cancer. They checked everything. They couldn't figure out what was really wrong with me other than Graves, and they said, well, this is not that. So this must be all in your head. You
Uh-huh.
know, doctors, that's a typical thing you hear in different health groups, that doctors will say things like that when they don't know, when they don't have the answer.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a
So,
shame.
yeah. So the
Yeah.
naturopath got me on the right diet. He didn't know anything about thyroid. He said to me, he's like, I don't know about thyroid, but I can help you with your gut. So for the diet, I had to do an anti-fermentation diet because it turns out I had Candida albicans, and that
Okay.
can be what causes your autoimmune disease. So for some people, it might be H. pylori, or some other bacteria, but mine
Okay.
was Candida albicans, which everybody has Candida,
Mm-hmm.
but if it gets out of balance, it can make you very, very sick.
Mm.
So I had to cut sugar. I had to cut all processed foods.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted me to eat organic. And at the time, I really couldn't afford to do that.
Yeah.
It was out of
Yeah.
my reach. And even my store didn't have all those organic. So I just ate clean. If you can't eat organic, don't think you can't eat those foods. You still need to eat those fruits and vegetables and eggs. Just eat healthy, right? So I did that, and I wasn't supposed to have bread, but I sometimes snuck a little bit because I made homemade bread, and I did
Mm.
my best. And I added the supplements. the
Hmm.
selenium, the iodine, the other things that would help your gut, all the good stuff. And I started to see results and I stopped being sick. And I went to the
Wow.
doctor and they felt my thyroid and they couldn't find it. They couldn't find the nodules.
Hmm.
And they tested me and they took me off all the thyroid medication I had been on.
Isn't that
But it's
amazing?
something I have to watch. It's something I have to watch.
Yeah.
I have to live the most healthy I can.
And isn't that how we're all should be doing it, you know? It's amazing how much and how many ailments and diseases are related to the gut issues. Like we didn't know this years ago, you know? And I think about like generations past, like even my mom's 90 years old, right? So she's on a thyroid medicine, you know, because they didn't know that stuff back then, but her diet is not the best. I mean, I try to do the best with her that I can, but with what she'll agree to,
Yeah,
she's 90, so she's like, but it's amazing, excuse me, like how much can be taken care of with our diets and with it. And now, especially with what we know and where we can see if people are interested and they're following what's happening with the food industry and what's happening with farming and all that, we can see the direction it's going. And so, you know, if we have all this information available to us, we really need, because these are our temples, these are the temples, right? And these are our bodies that, you know, I'm 67. And so like I look and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I get here? Like, where did the time go? And you have to start. And I was always physically fit. I was a dancer. I was, you know, I was have a degree in health and phys ed. And so I was always focused on that. But even back then when I was younger, I didn't know about that. And I could eat anything at that point. You know, it was like I burned it all up and nothing bothered me, you know. But the information that we have, we should definitely be learning and we should be, you can't just take the knowledge and you have to take action and to do the prevention, right? Instead of you know, waiting. And of course you didn't know, you know, but then neither do a lot of people until something happens. And then that's when you have to really look into it. So that's amazing that so you were off all the medicines, right?
yeah.
And so now you're just maintaining. What are you doing? Like, I know we're doing this interview.
So I lost the remission one time. So the first time I went into remission, this is a few years before my last daughter was born.
Mhm.
And but I went back to my old ways of eating, you know. I was like, oh, I'm better, you know. And then I just, eating processed food, here and there, and that's how it goes over time. And then I started to get sick again. It was quite scary actually. Heart palpitating. I can't
Mhm.
remember the numbers, but through the roof and
Wow.
going to emergency and getting back on the medication and going back to my doctor and him saying, well, we're never taking you off medication again. And
Oh.
I was like, no, I'm not even listening to that because yes, you will. Yes, you will. I know exactly what I have to do, right? Once you know what you have to do, you can go
Mhm.
right back, get right back on track and start eating healthy and eliminate the bad stuff and take the good stuff. And just like that, I got better. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's about maintaining. So I got off, I have had, yeah, I've done it twice.
Wow. Yeah, it is hard, right? When that stuff like now, especially like I see like sugar, especially, you know, and I'm not I have certain sugar things I like and you know, but trying to do better with that. But I think that, you know, everything I'm reading about it is so bad. The pure cane sugar that we're talking about, I guess.
And pastas,
Let's
all
say
the
that
things,
again.
pasta,
Oh, I know. I'm a,
flour,
you know,
all goes to sugar, and it just does stuff to your if
I
you're dealing with your gut. Oh, so yeah.
yeah. I'm part Italian, so that pasta thing is hard. Now, like I don't do it. I do not. I mean, we used to be once, twice a week, and now it's like every once in a while. And just the other night I made raviolis.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they were
And
good. But
and I think it's what they've done also to the food, like we were talking about, like what they've sprayed on the wheat and things like that, that have made it more toxic. Like if you were probably making your own pasta, maybe, like with a good flour, maybe then it would be better.
I think it goes down.
But
Yeah, it's like it goes back to that flour and what's been done to it, what kind you use. And
yeah,
um, yeah, and having the time to do that, boy, it's nice,
yeah.
right? To be able to make your own and
So
s-
iodine will take bromine out of your system, and a lot of flours have bromine, but you can get them unbleached, right? Unbleached flowers, you always get
okay.
even better, or like you can get even better than that. I usually just go with unbleached. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So so now that you're feeling better these days, and how long's that been since you like the last time you
10 years?
wow. And you
Yeah.
look wonderful. I mean, and I think that's the thing with a lot of like the autoimmune diseases, like when you're suffering, people don't really see that, unless they know you and what you're going through. So that's so hard. But you look wonderful. You look healthy. You look so young.
Oh,
And
thanks. Gonna be
yeah.
50 in a few years. I look ahead. I like to look at what is 70 gonna look like? What is 80 gonna look like? I want to live long and be there with my kids and my
Yeah.
grandkids. I'm already
Um,
looking like that. Like that's how I've been thinking like that for a few years. So
mhm.
it's really look at the long game. And I never want to be medically trafficked again. Because that's how I look at it. You just go from one
Right.
doctor to the next and one test to the next. And oh,
I
we
agree,
can take
Sarah.
care of our bodies. We can
Yeah,
do
I
it.
agree. I am not one of those pharmaceutical people either. And I'm not putting down people who have to
No,
take things.
they can be helpful. They can be really helpful. And you can
Right,
take pharmaceuticals and do healthy things. I would never tell someone to stop taking their
right.
pharmaceuticals. I took my medicine until the doctor took me off,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, and
just
yes, and
doing the other things on top.
that's a
Yeah.
disclaimer we do have to make. We're not doctors and we're
I'm
not,
not a
so
doctor.
we're not giving any advice on that. You definitely have to talk to your physician about things. But this is just Sarah's story about how she improved, how things improved with her physical body. And then how, she's just encouraging others to look into these things as well. And I'm going to do more. I'm actually doing on our Worldwide Academy Training Services channel, we're going to be doing an interview with somebody on more like home remedies and oils and things like that. So um, I think there are more and more people who are waking up to this and realizing that we can do better, we can live healthy. In the midst of it, we'll do we can do the best that we can with what we have.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, so
Our bodies are amazing. Like we've been amazingly created. So given the right environment, our bodies will heal.
yes, that's it.
Yeah, because they're just created to do it.
And the other thing I want to say too about that, and this is something that I have gone through in the last 3 years, and it's really hard now, something like I'm a caregiver for my mom, is that stress is
Mm,
such a killer. It is so, I mean, I've been healthy all my life and I don't plan on, you know, nobody plans, but you know what I'm saying? I'm planning on keeping my focus on staying healthy, doing what I can. But I can tell you that I have like the stress that I have felt, have gone through some things in the last 3 years really makes a difference in our
mm,
lives and in our health. And so learning how to manage things that come up, manage emotions, manage past things that have happened to us, traumas, even generational things that have been passed down to us is just as important as the physical things. So learning how to manage the stress, and I was just thinking this morning again, how we can't, if we have external disturbances, external distresses, we do what we can with the things that we can do. But for the most part, where it comes to relationships and other people, we can't change anybody else. It's us and our reactions, our responses. And, you know, and again, I'm learning this too, even at my age. It's like things that from the past that you think that you're over, or that have not stored up, because I do believe we store trauma in our bodies as well.
Yeah.
Um, they'll come up if you are, and I think too, if you're aware of these things, which more and more people are becoming aware of, but if you're a person who's more aware of, you want to improve your life, you want to improve your relationships, these things are going to come up and you're going to have to work through them. And some of them are really hard, but the stress factor, it's huge. It's
It
huge.
It is. And
Yeah.
stress can just raise our cortisol levels, and then we gain that weight through the middle. And oh, I experienced that as soon as I turned 40. I gained like 40 pounds. I recently just lost it, just recently, finally. But
Great.
stress, I'm feeling it like now that I'm 46. I was just thinking about this. I'm noticing that when stress comes up, I'm feeling it so much more intense than I ever did before. And I'm like, I'm going to have to figure this out because
Yes,
it's just starting. And it's like little things and everything turns out fine. So it's like all this stress over.
I know. Well, and I've seen, and I do think that the world that we're living in these days too has an effect on that. Um, and so that's the other thing, that if we can control those outside disturbances, those outside, what do I want to call them? Just
I mean,
frequencies that are negative, the most that we can do to stay away from those. Or, I'm not saying like, curl up in a ball and do nothing, but again, we're in control. And
yeah,
so, but learning how, but I agree with you. Like it seems like it has intensified in me. And I'm just learning recently too, that like things that are coming up in me from like when I was a child that I never knew or I never addressed. Because as a child, you don't really know that, unless you now have a parent who can, which parents are have so much more knowledge these days that they can work through things with their kids more so than like my parents' generation. They just didn't know, you know.
yeah. And
So
to your point about the things going on and how that's impacting us, and I think we can make a big difference just by in our homes, just putting on music that really uplifts us, and we can change the atmosphere in our home. We can change the atmosphere on our block. We're actually having an impact into the world just by making that choice to like the words we're going to speak. We're going to speak
mhm.
life. We're going to put some music on, maybe light a candle, do whatever you got to do. Just take that deep breath and go, everything's going to be all right here.
Yes, absolutely. And
I'm
creating,
safe.
yeah, creating this safe, peaceful atmosphere in your house, wherever you're living. Um, and the Facebook group that we have, the sound, we're talking more about frequencies and sound, and you being a singer, a musician, a worshiper, you understand how frequency and music, sound changes the atmosphere. And so again, I think too, in this day and age that we are being worked on, those of us who carry the kingdom within us, right? To send us out to wherever we go, the frequency that we're carrying, it is scientifically known. Like frequency changes things, right? Physically. You can physically move a mountain. And so um that's another reason why we're being these things have to come out of us. They have to be healed. We need the healing. And so, starting with like you did, like you had the physical manifestation, whatever that was, that was all you worked through the physical. But there's also, we have emotional healing, we have just generational healing, and that we need that so that we can carry the right frequencies to wherever it is that we're going, and so that we can help others,
Can I
right?
share one more thing about,
Yeah.
I just feel like this
Sure.
is important. Um, while I was sick, sometimes I would just get in the bathtub and that would really help calm everything down. And I would take that time to start to pray, to start to worship, and all the pain would leave my body. Everything would, like, I would just feel God's presence
Mm.
and I would feel better. And it got to the point, I don't know, I guess it's almost like I gave up, but it wasn't giving up. I just said, you know what, God, if you never heal me, I will still praise you. I
Yes.
will still praise you.
Yes.
And it wasn't long after that that I was sent on the path to complete healing. Or maybe I was already on that path, but it was just that, you know, trust God.
Mhm.
He loves you. He'll get
Yeah.
you through. He'll get you through this,
Yes. That's
whatever
an
it is you're
awesome.
going through.
It was that point in time for you of total surrender. And sometimes we have to do that daily. I have to do that daily, but being in the presence, and others would look at this and, even if they don't believe there's a creator, they believe in the frequency, like that's the frequency of the creator. There is no sickness, there is no disease, there's healing, there's hope, there's joy, there's peace, there's love, there's everything in it, right? And so, oh, Sarah, thank you for that encouraging word right there. I think that's like, do you have anything else that you'd like to encourage people with? Because I think that is like such an awesome place to actually finish.
Yeah, you're
Um,
yeah, just
yeah.
keep the faith. Don't give up. Believe I can heal.
Mm.
Or even believe better. If you're Bible believing Christian, you can say, I am healed. By his stripes, I was healed. I am healed. And just take it.
Yes, yes. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Sarah. Well, and I'm mad at myself because I didn't ask you to bring your guitar
Yeah,
to
maybe we'll have
finish.
another talk some other
We
time and I'll
can.
be ready.
Yeah,
We'll
maybe
talk about something else.
we could talk more about frequency and sound or whatever,
That would be great. I love
yeah.
that.
And then also if I don't know if Sarah has any links, or, if you want people to contact you or anything like that, we can put that down below in the description. You can send that to me. But so thank you so much. This has been such a delightful conversation with you. And I'm so happy to have come across you on Facebook. Facebook's got some crazy things, but it's really nice when you get to meet people face to face. And one day I'd love to give you a big hug sometime.
Yes, I would love
From the
that too.
States. So, all right. Well, everybody, I hope that you're encouraged. I don't know how you could not be encouraged by Sarah's story. And just give us a like, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, share, comment below. Make sure you get this to somebody who really needs to have a little bit of an encouragement today. And we'll see you on the next The Sound. All right. Ciao, everybody.